Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here! I've been keeping an eye on you for a while now.
Huh? You mean us?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth. No? And by the looks of it, you're not from Fontain.
Well, you're right on the more about that one, but who are you?
Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosula? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it, Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus. Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs are under my purview.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What gives with the names?
Well, I am the second generation president. Melus and the others are still used to my previous title.
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine.
Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rosula anyway.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, back to the situation at hand. That's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. My interest stems from a matter back from my father's time. Judging from the look of things, I find Linny an unlikely mastermind.
Really? We think so too! That's why we're looking for clues now. But how did you come to that conclusion?
Intuition, naturally. My unparalleled intuition. Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Linny without any decisive evidence whatsoever, wasn't she? But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting carried away. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going to back down in that situation.
Sounds more like you just don't trust the Hydro Archon.
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her doesn't mean that I'll blindly agree with her. All right, I've answered your question. Now, it's time you answer mine.
Wait a minute, did that answer count?
Well, I say it does. But don't worry, you won't hear any pointless questions from me. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
Well?
And why would that be? See, Silver and Melus? I told you they'd be different.
Most astute of you, Demoiselle. I, too, think that the Traveler's response was most excellent. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, the trials that go on stage here must be based in fact. And if that can be done, boss, then...
All right, that's quite enough, Melus. Anyway, I like your answer. You passed with flying colors. Now, I need to make some preparations, following which our joint investigation shall commence. You two shall be my assistants.
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Well, I can be the assistant, sure. Or your companion, if you like. I'm really not that fussy.
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental in uncovering the truth. You wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the disappearances. In this sense, our goals are aligned.
You have a point. You're quite the talker, aren't you, mister? And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got something on your mind.
I have nothing to add.
Oh, alrighty then.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they start revealing Lenny's tricks. Thanks!
I see that you're investigating the area. Well, it just so happens that I'm interested too. If you find any new and interesting leads, be sure to share them with me, all right?
We don't have too many thoughts yet.
Then why don't I tell you my hypothesis first? The way I see it. And I'll start it with that loud thud.
The thud? Oh, you mean the sound that happened during the countdown?
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terribly loud, but I suspect that most people heard it. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Lenny's trick with bated breath, so no one paid it much mind. But now that the incident has happened, the thud has become an important clue.
That makes sense. So, what do you make of it?
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Lenny's accomplice, Lynette perhaps, jumping atop the water tank or something like that. And when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope, sending the water tank crashing down.
But wasn't the noise we heard too loud for that?
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly rough landing. Oh, that's true. I suppose I must reconsider.
That does remind Paimon, though. What was with that sound? So this is the rope that broke and caused the water tank to fall. The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks? Why are you suddenly so serious, Traveler? Whoa! Look! This bit is made from different material! Most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. So if a rope meant to hold something was made with that kind of material in it, then that means... Wait! Why don't you write all this down? Let's take notes!
Go ahead, have a look around. In the end, we're both after the truth.
The investigation team has some new findings. Turns out there's an issue with the random number selector after all.
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat? You think the murderer would have still made his move then?
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Linny and Lynette with their side of the investigation. What were you saying about the number selector? There's something wrong with it?
You're trying to help them? That'll be a tall order.
Linny used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right? The lucky girl that later disappeared. Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine, so we had it taken away for further inspection.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. The machine picks that same number every time. I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a seat, regardless of whether it's a trial or some performance. In other words, Linny knew who would be sitting where from the very beginning.
That much checks out. Linny reserved our seats for us, too.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Linny.
Even though it's bad for Linny's case, Paimon had better write it down.
Oh, this location has also been cordoned off because the Magic Troop members are currently considered prime suspects. The investigation team is still collecting evidence. The seats were all booked in advance, so we were able to deduce the missing woman's identity by checking the guest list. Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will publish it later anyway when we petition the public to help us find the missing person. Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from Fontain who's made a bit of a name for herself. Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House, but she'd been feeling some pressure with her work lately, which made her decide to come see the magic show. The Magic Troop members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no personal grievances or conflicts of interest with the suspects. Simply put, she wasn't related to the Magic Troop at all, which matches the features of the previous serial disappearances.
Were the victims of previous cases also chosen at random?
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around the same age range, there really weren't any other connections between them.
Okay then.
No need to be so formal. If you do happen to see the missing girl, please be sure to contact us. It is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom of these disappearances.
But no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to leave, you must register your identity with us first.
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Linny and Lynette as attorneys, so we're investigating the case. Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes, after Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity then, either.
How can you be so sure,
Well, because I was in charge of security near the entrance at that time. I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my post, and I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had so much as even approached the door, I would have noticed it, let alone if they had tried to leave. We Melazines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't have left through here. Alright, thank you for your help. This'll be useful info. We've checked everything of note here at the performance venue. Paimon wonders how Linny's discussion with the guards is going. Let's go see, shall we? Ooh, things are getting in.
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitoring your actions and making notes as necessary.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you if I could.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just doing my job.
You've arrived. Who's this? Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got the firepower. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me Navia. I'm a partner of theirs, and will be helping investigate this whole situation. And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be most grateful.
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a large scale.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box, prepared specifically for this switcheroo trick. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations here? Where did all that go?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
The back? You mean the inside of the door? What's different about it? Paimon didn't notice anything.
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right, let's go. I'll tell you how it works as we head down.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as you saw this place. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above the 2 entrances of the tunnel. See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the trolley.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the purpose of the box inside another box.
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved along the trolley, all while the outer box would remain on stage as if nothing had ever changed.
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already be back on stage.
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment near the end!
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite box via a tunnel using that ladder.
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting!
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked! Wow! Every detail you revealed was more amazing than the last!
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled it off. And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a crime. Could we have a look around? I think we can come up with some more leads.
This is the scene of the crime, so Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort them back up.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting on you.
这个是什么？
绳子上绑了个钩子。这里奇奇怪怪的东西好多呀。
可能是其他魔术里的道具吧，但怎么会掉在这里呢？
不管了，先记下来。
地上有水，各位通过的时候小心地滑。
说起来，怎么这里会有水呢？
哦，我知道，就是那种往瓶子里倒水，再把瓶子翻过来，水就不见的魔术。这个碎掉的瓶子，难道是平板车通过的时候撞到的？
不对劲，平板车始终在轨道上运行，这个距离应该不会撞到。
哎，总之先记下来吧，之后一起想。
这个就是被选中的少女穿的衣服，对吧？就这么留在了这里，人不见踪影。
对啊，绑架的话需要先把外衣脱掉再带走吗？我不想当侦探了，完全弄不懂。无论凶手是谁，一定早有预谋。这是什么地方？
人可以通过。
啊？难道说犯人就是从这里离开的吗？
一个人或许没问题，但如果要带一个人的话，空间太狭窄了。
但也没有其他出入口了吧？有道理，那我就这么写。下面好像也调查的差不多了。
先回上面去吧。这样一来，现场的情况就基本确认完毕了。等麦勒斯回来，我们找个地方整理一下线索吧。感觉有好多地方都想不通。
久等了，大小姐。
警备队的人他们怎么说？犯人是从通风口逃走的吗？
他们认为这种可能性很低。那个通风口通向歌剧院的地下室，警备队员已经仔细确认过了，并没有人在表演中和事故之后从地下室离开，也没有人藏在那里。
这么说的话，地道就变成密室了。你们知道吧？小说里经常会有这样的设计。
这就更奇怪了。无论是海尔西的失踪，还是考威尔的死，都很莫名其妙。怪不得弗宁娜这么信心满满。现在的线索好像全都指向林尼和林尼特。
换句话说，如果我们不能取得进展，指控成立的可能性就非常大了。
指控审判，如果指控成立，就会宣判吗？
这就是歌剧院审判的流程。在审判期间，最高审判官和狱事机会听取双方的发言。是啊，律常混能就是在这个过程中产生。双方的发言、代理人的辩护、证人的证词，包括观众们的情绪，都会展示在狱事机上。简单来说，就像是狱事机拥有自我意识一样，也是一位审判官。
这也就杜绝了最高审判官徇私舞弊的可能性。当然了，实际上也没有发生过这种事。
在双方发言完毕后，最高审判官会做出最终决断，他的意见也会作为狱事机的参考。最后由官员询问狱事机，他所给出的结果就是正义的意志。
居然做决定的是这个大块头，我还以为是纳维莱特呢。
其实并无区别，两者的判决总是完全一致。所以枫丹的人们都很相信最高审判官大人。对了，警备队那边还有另一个消息，我们所有人在审判之前都不能离开这里。
啊？为什么？
因为我们已经决定作为林尼和林尼特的代理人行动，自然就成为了案件的相关者。
他们担心我们搞里应外合，或者去外面找帮手来破局。就算不是这样，我们抢先把案件的关键线索散布出去，对他们也是很麻烦的事。
破门而出，我准备好了。
喂，不至于啦！ 我觉得警备队的人的想法还是有道理的。不过事情是这样的话，他们管饭吗？
当然了，只是缺乏选择，没办法适应我们每个人的口味，也不能保证营养均衡。
这样的话，那我们就在这里整理线索吧。本来想请你们去尝尝枫丹亭最出名的甜品店，有糖分，有茶叶，推理才能从容而优雅，对吧？
我突然觉得破门而出不是不能接受。开玩笑的啦，我开玩笑的，没有点心我也会好好干的，绝不偷懒。
啊，当然有啊！你在说什么？没办法去店里吃，就自己做呗。
啊，在这里怎么做啊？
我明白了，大小姐。那么，请各位随我来。
为什么会有人随身携带烹饪炉啊？
为了让大小姐随时能享受烘焙的爱好，我会准备万全。
蛋、糖、杏仁，我都带了。
不愧是你们，那我就开始了。你们稍等片刻，准备品尝一下我自豪的点心手艺吧。
这3个人好奇怪啊！哇，好香！烤的时候就很香了，我忍得好辛苦。不过我还以为你烤点心的时候也会拼命使唤他们2个人，就像让他们带这么多东西一样。结果从打蛋清和磨杏仁粉开始，所有的事都是你一个人做的。
我在鼓掌。
我也在用微笑鼓励大小姐。
我只是觉得大小姐穿的这么好看，居然在这里打蛋清，也不怕弄脏了嘛。
也没人规定大小姐只能看书品茶、骑马弹琴，对吧？我只是很喜欢做点心而已。别小看打蛋清哦，很锻炼臂力，程度也要刚刚好，这样烤好的马卡龙才不会开裂。来，尝尝吧，刚出炉的热腾腾的马卡龙，每个人3个。
啊，只有3个。
甜食吃多了不好，小心等下脑子晕晕的，案件的事想不明白哦。
红茶也准备好了，这是大小姐最喜欢的茶，花香浓郁，能让人心情愉悦，神清气爽。不用介意，这是我应该做的。
好了，我们来聊一聊正事吧。就像之前提到的，地道是一个类似密室的环境，但是在这个封闭环境中，目前还不存在除了林尼与林尼特之外的犯罪者。他们2人虽然有作案的可能性，可是完全没有动机。
对啊，还偏偏选在这种最引人注目的时候，怎么想都奇怪嘛。
地道里的花瓶，还有表演中听到的那一声闷响。如果海尔西在地道里和犯人发生了争斗，结果就是花瓶破碎，他的衣服被扔下，人被掳走。难道犯人觉得他是被当众选出来的，不脱掉衣服的话，很容易被人注意到？
我觉得有道理，但最关键的问题还是……
是啊，我们找到的线索好像都不支持第3个人的说法，可剩下的，不论是失踪少女海尔西，还是死者考威尔，都算是被害人的范畴啊。
那会不会是海尔西想杀考威尔，偷偷对道具做了手脚，再一个人逃走？
是的，就算他能对道具做手脚，那也是在知晓魔术全貌的情况下才知道应该怎么做。再说了，他也没有动机。警备队员说了，他和魔术团的人都没有往来。
唉，是不是我们找的还不够仔细啊？按现在这样说，真的变成一件不可能的案件了。不过纳维亚，你的马卡龙烤得真好吃，香喷喷，又酥又脆，好甜好甜。
那是当然，这可是我的拿手绝活儿。 不过派蒙，你已经吃了5个了哦。
啊，5个嘛？不会的，只有3个，我有好好再数。
没关系，吃了就算了。我年纪大了，这种甜的东西少吃一点为好。
不，嘴馋是一回事，吃了多少是另一回事。如果我吃了很多，别人就没有了，这个道理我明白。连你也不相信我？你怎么能这样？我发誓，如果派蒙多吃了2个马卡龙，那他们就立刻在派蒙的肚子里变成石头。
好吧，知道了。那应该是我们聊得太入神，有人不小心多吃了，不是什么大事儿。麦勒斯，架锅开炉。
你要干什么？
每个人都必须有3个马卡龙。
是啊，太麻烦了。
是的，小姐，这就准备。
蛋、糖、杏仁，我都带了。
看得出这真的是你的爱好。
好了，点心时间结束了，我打算再去周围看看。虽然还没什么头绪，但毕竟还有时间。既然你们是代理人，我建议你们先尝试推理一下案件，不然上台的时候无话可说，那就很尴尬了。
好的，也谢谢你帮忙，还请我们吃东西。
不用客气，对刺玫瑰来说这算不了什么了。麦勒斯、希尔弗，我们走吧。有新的发现的话，我还会回来的。
用这个时间想想看吧，接下来应该就是紧张的庭上辩驳了，估计会花掉很多时间，而且困难重重。想这么多也没用，总之做好准备吧。我的本子也给你，方便你回顾整件事。嘿嘿。怎么办啊？果然还是一头雾水吧。有道理，这个世界不会发生不可能的事件。
不要紧张，就算所有人都怀疑林妮和林妮特，我们几个在观众席上都会支持他们。我们都弄不明白的事，我不相信弗妮娜已经弄明白了。
谢谢你，纳维亚，那我们去了。
祝你们好运。
啊，终于见到你们了，怎么样？调查还顺利吗？
老实说，让你失望了。
不，你们愿意帮忙，我们都很感激。
瞧这垂头丧气的样子，你们几位，调查毫无收获，对吧？理所应当，有罪之人怎么可能找得出无罪的证明呢？但不要止步于此，你是我最看好的对手，可别3两下就投降了，我会很失望的。
既然双方到齐，本次关于魔术演出突发事件的审判正式开始。那么首先，为了让在场观众都明白案件的前因后果，请林尼先生讲述一下魔术的手法吧。
好的，我在这里讲，林妮特会在舞台上为各位示范。道具已经准备好了。
那么林尼先生，我可以认为你的证言是，魔术一开始你就跑到观众席侧的魔术箱里藏了起来，无法作案，是这样吗？
是的，大审判官先生。
那么，请问弗妮娜女士，作为指控方，有无对此的反驳意见呢？
当然了，当然了，第一把火就由我来点燃吧。林尼先生， 你在说谎，因为你要掳走海尔西，杀死考威尔，不可能一直留在箱子之中，甚至很长时间都不在地道之内。
这只是你基于我有罪的推断而做出的推测而已。
是吗？那你在箱子里的时候听到了什么吗？
当然是震耳欲聋的倒数声，我靠这个把握时间，创造惊喜。
除此之外就没有了吗？没有让你留下印象的响动吗？
没有了。
可是，在倒数到30多秒的时候，会场明明传来了一声闷响，我相信所有人都听到了。
啊？
喂，这不对啊！
对呀，那么大的声音，在箱子里的话绝对能听到。
我当时就在那附近，很明显的。
那个天平，难道就是？
诸位，请允许我引用魔术师本人的发言，谨慎挑选眨眼的时机。你们都看到了，这正是不在场证明崩塌的瞬间。当然，除了瓦解你的不在场证明，我还准备了其他的武器。世上可不会有没来由的自信，我早就准备万全了。你和林妮特其实是壁炉之家的人，没错吧？
壁炉之家？
怪不得会做这种事。
原来，少女连环失踪案是愚人众在搞鬼，感觉是最不意外的答案了。
那我觉得，舞台上的意外也不见得是事故了。
那又有什么关系？我和林妮特的身份与这件事也没有联系吧？
啊，确实。那你大可以就在我们的面前把这1分钟的事从头到尾说上一遍。对此刻的你来说，脱罪才是第一要务，你不该有开不了口的事，除非是剧本已经前后矛盾。异乡旅人一言不发，看上去非常震惊。接下来就该内讧了吧？这赢得也太轻松了。亏我为了这次庭审，紧张的一晚上都没睡着。哎呀！
喂，李妮，这种事怎么不告诉我们？
请各位保持安静。林妮先生，我想再度确认，由弗妮娜女士提出的2个观点。在歌剧院听到闷响之时，你不在箱子与地道之内，以及你与林妮特女士都是壁炉之家的成员，这是否属实？请回答我的问题，林妮先生。
抱歉。是的，审判官大人，均为实情。
我就知道，到这里就可以宣判了吧？
怎么办啊？
请讲。那么，你的诉求呢？
没必要了吧，都板上钉钉了。
连请来辩护的人都骗，沟通能沟通出什么呢？
肃静，诉求合理，我们就此休庭。1小时之后，审判将会重新开始。
你都知道这种事了，竟然还不拒绝为林妮先生辩护，看来我这位对手的职业素养超乎想象。我最爱的观众们，就让胜利的喜悦再沉淀一会儿吧。
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Ugh. Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear your answer first, and no lies now!
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense. Huh? she gets what you mean?
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
Ugh, that took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linney red-handed. So Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. What Linney experienced and what he saw. Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal. According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Linney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth. Linney did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linney did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent! Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility? The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The sound we heard may have come from... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick. Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Linny already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontain. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order!
It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
The rope that strung the water tank up was lit. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism. The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box. The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and cut. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this? I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box.
Ahem! It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
That can't be. Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close. Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent.
Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization. Am I right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
Oh no! Paimon can't think of anything either. It doesn't look like there's any way around this. Seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this have to happen now?
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view,
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Linny, if you would be so kind.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette, give it another go. Don't worry, Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl. I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief! Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective. The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lillian and Cowell. Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time. Just what one might expect of an experienced thief.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontain, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the opera house these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow, look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontain, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Liliane was not from Fontain, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Liliane. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Liliane, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Liliane's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work, partners. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dared to bring before this court?
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Lenny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
A knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, I mean, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontain.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontain can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontain. And we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
It's all right. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the House, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Linny.
Bye, Linny!
哎，等等，可算找到你们了！怎么庭审一结束，你们就没影了？
纳维亚，你找我们？
事情还没结束呢，我感觉我们离少女连环失踪案的真相更近了，对吧？啊，怎么了吗，我的好搭档？
而且这种数十年的悬案，真的是可以靠我们来解决的吗？既然这次有了新的线索，水神手下的人会试着顺藤摸瓜去解决的吧？
这样啊，虽然听你们这样说，感觉有些意外，不过也是呢，毕竟你们只是刚到枫丹不久的旅行者。不好意思，是我有些太自作主张了。
纳维亚，别这么说。
唉，跟你们一起调查案件的时光真是快乐。怎么说呢？像是在一潭死水中忽然注入了新的水流一样，也似乎注入了新的希望。水中的倒影变得逐渐清晰了起来。我这个人就是很容易念旧，别见怪，别见怪。哦，对了，散伙饭，我们去吃散伙饭吧。
哎，还要这么正式吗？看来你真的很把我们之间的关系当回事呢。
我只是喜欢给每一段重要的回忆画一个完整的句号，不要留下遗憾。而且只是吃顿饭而已，应该不会耽误你们太多时间的。
其实只要是纳维亚老板请我吃饭，我都会很乐意去的，不用考虑那么多啦。
那就好，我们先回枫丹亭，然后一起去德波大饭店吧。时间应该刚好赶得上吃晚饭。
好诶，散伙饭。